Today should be our important 94th online teaching session so far for everyone. When did we actually just start these online teachings originally? I really can't quite remember, but after a few months have passed by, or from time to time occasionally, we've given some scattered teachings occasionally. Now, we've actually already reached, in fact, nearly 90 sessions in total. The classes that we usually teach in our regular weekly schedule are not included in the online teachings. Generally, the online teachings only offer about 2 or 3 classes at most currently, or some impromptu teachings shared with everyone, which are lessons or insights offered spontaneously. Today counts as an online teaching session, meaning we are coming together virtually to learn and share knowledge, even though we are not in the same physical space. Maybe next Tuesday, I suppose, perhaps. There might also be a simple teaching session, or perhaps a transmission recitation, or maybe something like that. I originally planned to do the transmission recitation today, but after thinking about it, I think I'll save it for Tuesday instead. I had actually prepared the 37 practices of a bodhisattva. This 37 practices of a bodhisattva is very good. You all should kindly be available on Tuesday after all. It should be fine. On Tuesday, I'll recite the transmission of the 37 practices of a bodhisattva for everyone. This is something I have been doing for a while now. I started this recitation back in 2017, and now, as we are here in February, it feels meaningful to continue this tradition. I've recited it for everyone who has formed a connection. In a year, it might be close to 100 times. It's always really been just like this, perhaps. It's been this way for nearly 30 years, a long period of time. I also hope that all of you, wherever you are, can receive this transmission, and that you are able to receive this transmission and its blessing once again. This is something important. Also, let me mention here, our Lotus Sutra for this year, as well as the ornament of the Mahayana Sutras, will basically be started somewhere around the end of March, if all goes well. That's approximately when we'll be teaching them. The exact time hasn't been fully set yet, though. Before that, I might give some online teachings. Maybe in a couple of days, I'll talk about one of His Holiness Jigme Phuntsok Rinpoche's works, the Song of Disenchantment, the Cuckoo's Melodious Voice. There are approximately about 37 verses in it, which contain profound wisdom and teachings with wonderful insights and reflections. Also in His Holiness's writings, there are some joyful and uplifting songs as well, like the well-known Song of Joy. Otherwise, some people might think that our Eastern philosophy is rather pessimistic, while Western philosophy is generally seen as more hopeful and optimistic. It's always so positive and uplifting. Actually, there's some truth to that. Sometimes really from the perspective of spiritual practice, for example, works like Suffering is Life and so on, reflect a rather sorrowful mindset. But many people still really like it quite a lot, because life, in fact, really is quite full of suffering. According to some Western philosophies, we can also see this quite clearly, including some of their notable speakers, as well as every president of their countries, it seems, or some rather famous teachers. Almost all of them during their speeches may feel sad and pessimistic inside, but in front of the public they present themselves as saying things like, look how brave I am. You need to have confidence, you need to be strong, and so on. They do this as well. Sometimes when we look at both Eastern and Western cultures, and at the same time consider some Buddhist teachings, whether it's about the suffering, emptiness, and non-self of life, or the joys and sorrows, separations and reunions, we should try to truly understand and thoughtfully reflect on all these principles in a thorough and comprehensive way. It's very meaningful. So regarding this, in just a few days, I hope that perhaps if you have time, I'm not certain right now, but I think it might be sometime in February, mainly through online teachings. If today is the 94th session, then after a while there will be the 95th, 96th, 97th, and the sessions will continue in this regular pattern for some time. And maybe up to the 100th session, I'm not sure. That would be a bit better, look a bit nicer. That's one thing. Also, I want to mention here that there are several other important points we should consider carefully regarding some particular situations at Larungar, since presently some people outside at various different temples and places, there's been quite a lot of talk about it. Especially in some Han and Tibetan monasteries, there has been quite a lot of discussion and conversation about alms seeking as well. It's said that our Buddhist academy seems to have had many people leave this time, and these people currently have nowhere to stay. We need to make appropriate arrangements for them here. As for the official notifications that we have already given to everyone and the official arrangements thus far, nothing has been finalized yet. Perhaps this year Laronggar is under construction or undergoing comprehensive administrative reorganization, or perhaps in the process of careful and detailed planning currently. If some of the practitioners' houses are being demolished, it's true that some people have had to leave. This does happen. But as for the specifics, last year there were also some cases, but basically last year there wasn't much of this. There was no need for any particular monastery to make arrangements. It was almost non-existent. Maybe this year there will be similar situations, but this, either you sit down or you otherwise standing there like that for a while seems rather uncomfortable and awkward, doesn't it? Isn't that right? You can't sit down, you can't sit, so you can only kneel. Why can't you sit down, right? Is there a chair available for you to use, or is there not a chair? You take that, go over there, arrange something for him in the back. Otherwise, I also feel a bit uncomfortable, to be honest, seeing this here. There should be chairs in the back room, the remote control room. Arrange something for him. Patients are given special permission, all right? Otherwise, if you keep standing like this, I wonder, are you trying to debate with me? Generally, in the past, in the ancient and very well-established traditional Indian tradition, some learned panditas, if they wanted to debate on purpose, would come out while someone was actually giving a teaching. And then they'd start like this very deliberately and confidently. So I was a bit worried just now. That's what I really meant a little bit earlier, actually, when I spoke very clearly right here specifically. A lot of people can't sit still right now. Quite a few have already run over there, obviously. No need to kneel, just sit down. It's fine, it's fine. Quite a few people, maybe they've never sat like this before for extended periods, never attended a class like this before today. The cross-legged sitting posture is rather a bit painful indeed. But in the future, when you do the traditional full lotus vajra sitting, it'll be even more challenging and difficult, obviously. So you should go to a yoga studio to train, to practice, go work out. Nowadays, there are lots of yoga studios for fitness. At that time, it was still very much a kind of rigorous and demanding training. If you do that, then you'll be able to sit completely still. That's what I was saying just now. Last year, Laronggar also did something like this. This year, there might be some similar ones as well. They'll probably be pretty much the same as last year. So I hope that some of you, whether you're faithful devotees or generous benefactors, if you find yourself in this particular challenging situation, I'm not trying to stop you either, but you should also use your wisdom to observe very carefully always. Otherwise, even among us Buddhists nowadays, some people are indeed especially enthusiastic and have strong faith. Some, however, may not be so obvious even now. There are individual Dharma friends, individual Buddhists who also don't have any ill intentions, but sometimes they might get a bit anxious. After that, all sorts of things can happen, including a bit more of this in Han regions as well. It's better not to fall into either extreme. Some people, for a variety of reasons, appear to be rejecting Tibetan Buddhism. Actually, all of this is simply rumor. Truly, in the 21st century now, in reality, rejecting any form of Southern Buddhism, rejecting any form of Northern Buddhism, or rejecting any form of Tibetan Buddhism, I think even the government hasn't done this. And even if they wanted to, it's not possible. There are certain difficulties now. As for us Buddhists, there are some individual Buddhists who are perhaps a bit more jealous. They will do all sorts of things in private, especially when no one else is watching. Spread all kinds of rumors and engage in various activities. But as for us, we should use careful judgment and wisdom to observe the situation at this time. Therefore, I hope that everyone will not, whether it's in a positive or negative way, not discuss it too much. If we talk about it too much, even if there was nothing to begin with, later on it seems that people's minds slowly turn it into something very concrete and tangible. Nowadays, there's something called specific syndrome, obviously, or you could say depression. Some people are extremely, extremely afraid, worried about whether this or that might happen, whether things will go wrong or what might happen. In the end, they naturally develop a kind of panic disorder themselves. This is very dangerous. Even in our personal lives, everyone shouldn't be worried about this or that every day. And in our practice, we shouldn't worry either, wondering if we're practicing incorrectly, or if the Dharma protectors will punish us, or if we might become possessed, or if, among everyone, I'm already not okay now. Is there a spirit attached to me? Do I have cancer? Is there something wrong with me? Many people were actually doing just fine to begin with, but because of all kinds of panic, they end up agitating themselves, and eventually they become abnormal themselves. The world hasn't changed, but their hearts have. If your mind changes, your world has changed. The greater world hasn't changed. So for us practitioners, personally, I'm like this too, but it's not that. Yesterday, among my fellow practitioners at the academy, I also mentioned this during my lecture. I said, I'm not deliberately pretending to be optimistic, nor am I intentionally, when giving lectures, actually feeling very sad and pessimistic inside. And then during the lecture, purposely acting like a performer here. It's not like that. I feel that anything in this world can be a helpful condition for spiritual practice. There's really nothing that is particularly remarkable about it, nor is there anything genuinely sad or upsetting. Everyone should treat anything that happens in our lives as an opportunity for transformation or as a truly helpful condition for spiritual practice in our daily lives. This is a very good approach for all practitioners, obviously. Some of the rumors circulating in the outside world might be a bit biased and tend to be somewhat extreme and misleading to people. In such cases, there's really no need to react with anger or frustration. Everyone should face everything with true wisdom and mindful awareness constantly. This is extremely important in all circumstances, obviously. That's one thing. And then there's another matter I want to say. Recently, I've also sent some experienced and qualified Dharma teachers to various places to conduct some lectures and teachings in different communities. In different places and in various aspects, very favorable conditions have also been created. I am especially and truly grateful to all of the people involved because I also sincerely hope that starting from last year, this year, and next year, over these coming few years of careful planning and preparation, gradually we can send some of our experienced and dedicated Dharma teachers to different places in various regions. To a certain extent, it can help to form positive connections with everyone quite effectively now. In this regard, the conditions have been very favorable so far indeed. I would also like to especially thank those from various places here in this vast world of ours, whether it's the east, south, west, or north of the earth, can we say that? Or from all directions of the entire world. There are so many people with karmic connections. I am especially grateful as well. The Dharma teachers on our side are also very satisfied. I myself am also truly very satisfied with this. We also hope that everyone can come together to study and benefit from the very pure and authentic teachings that we offer here. This is truly a very meaningful and transformative thing for spiritual development always. This is something I wanted to mention here. There's one more thing I need to talk about. I'm afraid I might forget if I wait any longer. Starting from today, here at this place, among those attending the class online today, some people do not have any religious faith. If you don't have faith, I won't try to force it upon you at all. I've heard that some people are planning to take refuge today. For those taking refuge in today's class, I will now recite a sacred refuge verse for everyone here present. Afterwards, you will become a true Buddhist who has taken refuge in the three jewels with sincere intention. When you first take refuge in Buddhism, our requirements are not very high for beginners. In your heart, you take refuge in the Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, our great teacher. Take refuge in the Dharma, the Mahayana and Hinayana teachings spoken by the Buddha, all of which will be the knowledge I will study with proper understanding in the future with dedication. As for the followers of the Buddha, they are like-minded people seeking wisdom and enlightenment who study together with me and who walk the pure path together with me with great dedication and sincere commitment on this spiritual journey. These 3 points are relatively simple and straightforward to understand. As a Buddhist, as for the precepts, At the beginning, we do not strictly require or enforce them at this stage currently. Later, when you take the 5 precepts, you will avoid killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, and so on. If you then take monastic precepts, the number of precepts will gradually increase in the future. First, regarding taking refuge in the 3 jewels, in the past, in different situations, the way we explained it might have been different for various reasons and backgrounds throughout history. But now we have a more common and universal approach in our modern times and era. This is how we take refuge in the 3 jewels. For Buddhists, especially lay people in modern society today, there are many worldly principles you encounter, and we understand them very well as well. Does taking refuge in Buddhism mean that everyone must be vegetarian? This is something many people care about. Of course, not eating meat is best, especially according to Chinese Han Buddhism. It is best not to eat meat. But if it is truly and absolutely impossible, the precepts do not explicitly or specifically require it. It can indirectly harm sentient beings. So simply taking refuge in the teachings and practices of Buddhism perhaps does not necessarily mean that everyone must be vegetarian. Of course, generally speaking, we always highly praise all dedicated Buddhists who are vegetarians. This is a bit different from some of the very strict traditional Buddhist rules that were followed strictly in the past. There is a slight difference. But in this era, we have no choice but to do so. This is one aspect. There are also several other important precepts that you should also be aware of. In particular, for example, after we formally take the 5 precepts, it is best not to drink alcohol, among other things. Before taking the precepts and before formally taking refuge in the teachings of Buddhism, after that, it's not that nothing is allowed. It's not that you can't really smoke, can't drink, can't actually do this or that. If we say this, some Buddhists, especially lay people such as business people, teachers, or local and federal government officials, will find it quite difficult. So at the beginning, we make things a bit easier for everyone in our modern Buddhist community today. I also hope that many of our Buddhists won't use these precepts to scare people who don't believe in Buddhism in their daily lives every day. This is not allowed, and that is also not allowed. You can't wear a hat and you can't eat sunflower seeds. There are so many rules like this and that. Anyway, we Buddhists, especially elderly ladies, they really like to scare others. This is forbidden, that is forbidden. You can't sit here, you can't stand, you can't sit. Just now I said you can't stand, right? It's always about what you can't do. Today I heard that some people are taking refuge. So next, I want to give everyone this wonderful chance now. For those of you who want to take refuge in Buddhism for the first time, I will recite a verse for taking refuge in the 3 jewels here for everyone step by step very clearly. According to the teachings of Longchenpa's resting in the nature of mind, I will recite it once and you repeat after me. Everyone present has already taken refuge. Of course, for those who don't want to take refuge, there's no need to be nervous or afraid. You can simply not take refuge in your heart. If you perhaps feel a bit embarrassed to say so out loud, it's also fine to just recite along.
Lama lar kyasam chewo. Sangye lar kyasam chewo. Chular kyasam chewo. Gendon lar kyasam chewo. Lama lar kyasam chewo. Sangye lar kyasam chewo. Chular kyasam chewo. Gendon lar kyasam chewo. Lama lar kyasam chewo. Sangye lar kyasam chewo. Chular kyasam chewo. Gendon lar kyasam chewo.
As for the Dharma name you receive upon taking refuge, the first character is Yuan, meaning complete or perfect. You can simply choose to add any character you like after that. You can add it. Or you can use a character from your own name. That's also fine to add. This is your new Buddhist Dharma name for taking refuge in our faith tradition. Next, today we will Today, I will be talking to you about the profound prayer to the Guru, Sunlight of Blessings, which was composed by the revered Guru, His Holiness at Mount Wutai, This particular prayer, known as Prayer to the Guru, Sunlight of Blessings, is a heartfelt and earnest supplication prayer. It is remarkably concise, comprising only a few verses, yet its underlying meaning is extraordinarily profound, deeply significant, and spiritually resonant, offering immense wisdom and guidance to those who recite it. I truly believe that it possesses an almost inconceivable great power of blessing. Therefore, taking full advantage of this wonderful opportunity today, we should consider. I will now give everyone a simple, straightforward, and literal explanation using basic language that is easy to follow right now. Its title is simply Prayer to the Guru, the Sunlight of Blessings. Each and every one of us, indeed every single Buddhist in fact, devoutly prays to the enlightened Buddhas, prays to the compassionate bodhisattvas, and also prays to the revered lineage masters, including heartfelt prayers to the revered Dakinis, the powerful Dharma protectors, the personal yidams, and so on. These are all truly and extremely, extremely important. Of course, such profound prayers may not be accepted by certain schools or by those without faith or spiritual beliefs. They may not necessarily acknowledge them or find any genuine or significant value in them at all. Some may even feel that such prayers are completely meaningless and have such thoughts. Of course, that is their own personal and individual perspective, but we should practice according to our very own way, with dedication and sincerity. If we are just to practice in our very own unique way, since truly ancient times, all the many great masters throughout the generations have prayed with genuine faith and sincere devotion to the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Yidams, seeking their guidance and attain spiritual liberation through this dedicated practice. Indeed, there are numerous such inspiring examples recorded throughout history. Personally, I truly believe that each and every individual present here, indeed, whether you are a Buddhist or not, it is a profound spiritual path. Let alone Buddhists, you should truly understand the profound merits of prayer, the exceptional excellence of prayer, and the truly inconceivable and immense blessings that prayer invariably brings. This fundamental truth should be deeply acknowledged. For those who do not believe, who have no faith, or for those individuals who are somewhat skeptical about what is often referred to as prayer, I hope that you can, from a purely academic and intellectual perspective, diligently study and analyze this phenomenon from a different knowledge-based angle. Why is it that so many diverse people around the entire world today, across various cultures and beliefs, not just even for Buddhists, but also in other religions, there are so many people from various cultures and backgrounds who pray and offer prayers? Through consistent and heartfelt prayer, each person gains different strengths of the mind and different kinds of personal and spiritual benefits. This is also a very real and significant issue. So, do we have the ability to label all these sincere and devoted people who pray as simply being superstitious, or to perhaps say that the chosen path they have embarked upon is entirely wrong? Do we really have such ability, or is it even necessary? We can also take a moment to observe our own personal situation. In this way, I truly believe that 99% of the people gathered here today should be genuinely interested in the practice of prayer. Because when I posted the official announcement online, I didn't say that I would be talking about the humanities today, nor did I specifically say I would be talking about psychology today. The official online announcement clearly stated that I would be talking about prayer to the Guru, the sunlight of blessings. That's precisely what the announcement explicitly stated, isn't it? That's exactly what I told everyone at that particular time. So you must be interested in prayer to have come here. Otherwise, with everyone being so busy, it would be absolutely impossible for you to come in person to this event. This prayer text we have here is a prayer to the Guru, and as for this profound prayer, its blessings are truly incredibly swift and remarkably powerful. It's much like when bright sunlight brilliantly shines upon the earth, causing all the beautiful flowers and all the diverse living things on the earth can fully receive the abundant illumination from the sun, or rather its pervasive radiance. When the sun's powerful and nurturing rays shine down upon all living things, everything on earth can flourish and grow vibrantly, thriving under the combined blessings of the warm sunshine and the refreshing rain. Everyone should always be aware of this. So generally after praying, with a very sincere and truly heartfelt devotion, praying with profound respect and immense joy, one invariably receives an indescribable and truly profound blessing, an unspeakable and deeply spiritual kind of wisdom, unwavering faith, boundless compassion, extraordinary courage, and so much more. This sacred prayer was composed by the precious Guru, His Holiness. In fact, it is a profound prayer for blessings. As for the individual who requested it, the name is clearly mentioned in the small notes at the very end. There was a revered Lama named Rigden. He passed away a long time ago. When we went to Mount Wutai at that time, he truly had deeply heard and carefully contemplated the Dharma diligently. He wasn't a Khenpo, nor was he a great monk, a virtuous master, or a tulku. He was a very ordinary Lama. At that time, he was already quite elderly. One of his legs was a bit disabled. He always carried a cane with him. He would make his way up to the summit of the east terrace of Mount Wutai. Back then we were still quite young. We used to joke around saying, the East Terrace mountain is so high, it was not easy for Lama Rigden to make it up here. So for us, it was no problem at all. We joked at the time, back then, at the sacred Loyang cave on the summit of the East Terrace mountain, it was during the period that the revered His Holiness composed the profound Manjushri Great Perfection. Lama Rigden, a deeply spiritual individual, harbored unwavering faith in His Holiness. He was also a devout and dedicated Buddhist practitioner. Once he made a request to His Holiness saying, "Right now I don't have the ability to listen, contemplate and practice the teachings. I wholeheartedly pray to you. Could you compose for me a prayer to you that is especially blessed and truly powerful?" The very next day the revered His Holiness composed this profound prayer. Then he graciously gave us the oral transmission. Because when we were at the summit of East Terrace, the Manjushri Great Perfection, along with some other texts, His Holiness was in a very relaxed and joyful mood at that time. At that time, many beautiful and profound treatises were composed in songs of joy. This is the origin of the prayer. After Lama Rigden made his sincere and earnest request, His Holiness, the wish-fulfilling jewel, composed it in the Loyang cave on Mount Wutai. As for this particular prayer, we know that as devoted disciples, when we sincerely pray to the Guru, the precious wish-fulfilling jewel, we are truly blessed. We receive his divine blessings very swiftly and without delay. This is the profound meaning. There are roughly 4 distinct layers of content in this. The first is prostration, the second is reliance, the third is supplication. The fourth is to never be separated from the Guru in all lifetimes and to benefit sentient beings. These are the 4 main points. Let us first discuss the first point, embodiment of all the victorious Buddhas of past, present and future, supreme guide leading all wandering beings, Heruka presiding over the assembly of Dakas and Dakanins. To you, wish-fulfilling jewel, I offer heartfelt homage. In fact, the Guru is actually the wisdom of all Buddhas' body, speech and mind. He is the complete manifestation of their wisdom, body, speech and mind. On the surface, the Guru's body appears to be just that, an ordinary flesh and blood body in this world. But in reality, compared to ordinary sentient beings, it is completely different. Venerable Longchenpa mentioned this in the Treasury of Pith Instructions. If you regard the Guru as an ordinary person, you will be cut off from blessings. Therefore, generally speaking, when we rely on a guru, we must first observe carefully whether this is truly a qualified guru. After this observation, during the process of following the guru, indeed it is truly best to have the profound wisdom and the enlightened view of seeing the guru as a divine Buddha. Of course, as we mentioned in our last online teaching, at the very beginning, we do not recommend regarding the guru as a Buddha. But when you finally truly receive the pith instructions and have developed an unshakable faith within yourself, then the view of seeing the Guru as a Buddha is also very important. In fact, you could also put it this way. When our teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha, was about to depart, Venerable Ananda was extremely saddened at that time. Shakyamuni Buddha also explicitly said, "You should not grieve, nor should you ever weep. In the future, during the degenerate age, I will manifest in the form of spiritual teachers to guide you all." Let me recite this for you in Tibetan to demonstrate my wisdom to the assembly. But reciting a single verse doesn't really show meaningful wisdom. It's nothing genuinely special. This is the holy and unchanging body of all the Buddhas of the 3 times. The Guru is like this. The Guru is the one who guides sentient beings with the most skillful means, just like a merchant leader in the world. In the past, when merchant leaders went to the ocean to seek the wish-fulfilling jewel, only those with rich experience could obtain it. So in terms of liberating sentient beings, the Guru is no different from a wise and capable merchant leader. Relying on his power, deep wisdom, and extraordinary ability, countless sentient beings can cross the vast ocean of endless samsara and reach the other shore of nirvana. So he is just like a merchant leader indeed. He is the principal deity of all dakinis and dharma protectors. That is Heruka. Heruka generally here is the main deity among all the retinue, just like the principal deity in the center of the refuge field, or in any sacred refuge field among all the revered deities. There is a principal deity or an important image of a Buddha or Bodhisattva, just like the esteemed Heruka. Among all the dakinis and dharma protectors, as well as among all the principal deities, he is indeed the sovereign and the ultimate gathering place of all objects of refuge. Therefore, if I truly wish to pay homage to the precious Guru, the precious Guru has also said before, if you call me precious Guru, and disciples truly regard me as being like a precious wish-fulfilling jewel, perhaps for you as well, just as when you pray to a wish-fulfilling jewel, all your heartfelt wishes and deepest desires will be completely fulfilled. If you truly treat your Guru as you would a precious wish-fulfilling jewel, then the profound wisdom, remarkable abilities, and boundless compassion you earnestly seek will all be attained. This particular verse primarily explains the profound line of homage. This truly means that in the future, at any given time, toward the revered Guru's sacred image, the blessed Buddha's sacred image, and so on, we pay respectful homage. Why should we pay homage? It is to destroy the arrogance within our mind stream. We Buddhists better, but many people are unwilling to pay homage. If you indeed lack a deep sense of reverence, you will not receive true blessings and attainments. Just as it is stated in the words of my perfect teacher, if you truly have supreme reverence, you will indeed receive great supreme blessings. If your reverence is average, you will receive average blessing. If your reverence is truly inferior, you will certainly receive inferior blessings and attainments. If you have absolutely no reverence or faith at all, then indeed you will not receive any blessings or attainments. In the same way, during our spiritual practice, it is indeed profoundly necessary for us to cultivate a deep sense of reverence toward our esteemed gurus and spiritual teachers. Moreover, it is incredibly important to often place the Guru's sacred image or a representation of their presence in your own personal shrine room. If it is not very convenient for some people to keep it in the shrine room, they can always carry a small cherished image of their beloved Guru with them at all times. This is also very necessary. For your practice, it truly creates a very special auspicious dependent origination. This is the supreme homage verse. The content and essence of the homage should properly be performed in this way. Next, we will discuss the important concept of reliance. I have no greater teacher than you. I have no practice other than your advice. At all times, I rely on you as my only hope, calling out to you as my wish-fulfilling jewel. May you be just that. Here, it seems that when translating from Tibetan to Chinese, some of the profound meanings in the Tibetan text, if translated directly into Chinese, they don't seem to be particularly accurate or convey the intended meaning effectively. But perhaps there's actually no way around it. I'll just do my very best in all endeavors. The true and essential meaning here is that my Guru is you alone. Other than you, I have no Guru more truly supreme or worthy. What I actually practice wholeheartedly, daily, and faithfully is your transformative and liberating teachings. I truly and completely rely on you wholeheartedly indeed. In virtually every single aspect of my daily life, I truly depend on you. With this in mind, I hope that you will grant me all blessings and siddhis. Your name is truly a wish-fulfilling jewel indeed. In fact, it is you who brings me the true power and function of a wish-fulfilling jewel. That is roughly the meaning here. Some people might feel that this kind of prayer is too conservative. I pray to you alone. There is no one but you. Does this mean the mindset is not inclusive or something like that? But in fact, this is indeed very necessary. During our actual practice and practical application, when we carefully listen, contemplate, and study, We can be broad in our learning and knowledge. We can rely on many teachers. We can seek out numerous experienced and compassionate teachers. We can study Buddhism or other religions from around the world. We can accept any kind of beneficial and enlightening worldly knowledge. However, when it truly comes to your very own actual practice, it is generally best to carefully choose only one or perhaps two dedicated teachers. This is better. One teacher is fine, two are fine, even three are fine. As long as you truly receive a kind of mind-to-mind transmission and blessing, as long as you truly have a single, unique and dedicated teacher who guides you, it is essential that you should be very selective and discerning on your chosen path of practice. This is very important. Here it truly means that I have absolutely no others. There is no one else who can possibly compare to you. Some of us often express this sentiment as well, saying, "You are indeed my one and only, truly cherished root guru. Apart from you, I truly have no other gurus. On the surface, this may indeed seem quite biased. Why is it only you and no one else? There are so many spiritual teachers in the world. Why do you have to rely on just one single individual?" But in terms of the profound blessings of direct spiritual transmission, of the sacred mind-to-mind transmission of wisdom and insight, this is actually very necessary and profoundly important. Here, when one is saying, "You are truly my only teacher, I have absolutely no others," this is indeed a kind of choice. Moreover, what I truly practice is mainly your teachings. Even a single word or phrase spoken by the teacher can truly have a profound impact, no matter how simple it may be. It should never, under any circumstances, be abandoned at all. Even a simple joke told by the teacher himself, or a very simple and clear expression indeed from the teacher, really, or even a simple, blessed and sacred object should all be regarded as extremely, truly and profoundly precious and valuable. In this way, a more natural and organic approach, one will receive some very special and truly extraordinary, rare, pure, divine and precious, uncommon, transformative blessings. And the one you completely wholeheartedly rely on, even throughout all my lifetimes, you are the only one. Aside from this, it's not that I don't acknowledge others. I also recognize all other great masters and teachers. But because of my profound karmic connection with you and the immense kindness you have consistently shown to me, it truly cannot be compared to anyone else. For this very reason, I still completely rely on you. In this way, you truly become like a wish-fulfilling jewel, and whatever I truly long for and deeply desire within my own personal mind stream, you are indeed able to completely fulfill each and every one of them and bring me a profound and lasting sense of complete satisfaction. I've been thinking about this principle a lot. Actually, it's not just exclusively within the realm of Buddhism, but even in the broader secular world, there truly is such a profound and effective method. For example, in the vast Han region, some traditional Chinese medicine practices, although there are now many established universities of Chinese medicine, with countless students graduating every year, and so many teachers, what they truly gain is just some limited academic knowledge. The truly profound and ancient secrets of Chinese medicine are carefully passed down individually by certain wise, experienced teachers. Some experienced teachers often use their own deeply personal family secrets, and generally, we can effectively teach these profound insights one-on-one, truly hand-to-hand, directly to an individual student. There is indeed a unique and effective way of carefully passing down such valuable knowledge. These individuals truly possess some very unique and potent healing secrets, which are in their hands. This is something that everyone, especially those in the medical field, should be well aware of. For example, someone might be a top disciple of a doctor, and the students they pass their knowledge to, but they don't necessarily pass it to everyone. In some cases, the tradition even requires passed only to men. Some traditions are only passed down to 3 people, or even just 2. This is quite similar to the secret teachings in our Dzogchen tradition. But these doctors, the actual and profound knowledge they acquire in the world, is not readily found in written texts. Nowadays, anyone can easily go online to read various written materials or listen to lectures in school, but most of those individuals who truly possess remarkable abilities, even within the medical field, there are such cases as well. That day, I met a calligrapher, an artist dedicated to the ancient and beautiful form of writing, while I was visiting the historic Han region. His calligraphy was exceptionally outstanding. He has also gained considerable fame throughout China. As a result, every character he writes is considered to be of exceptional value. Additionally, his own teacher was a respected professor at Beijing Normal University. He was a very renowned and celebrated artist. He was also a great master of traditional Chinese studies, and his name was Qigong. When it really comes to his story, as for how the two of us met, it was during a time when I was practicing by myself in a certain special location. After we met, it turned out that we had a bit of free time, so we were able to have a very pleasant and meaningful chat together. We often eat our meals together. Whenever he talked about his master, he always seemed very wistful. You see, that particular master had actually passed away 13 long years ago. I casually joked with him, saying my beloved master also passed away 13 years ago. He said that every year he faithfully goes to his master's sacred place to burn paper offerings for him. He talked in detail about how he received his teachings with great respect and how he learned beautiful traditional Chinese calligraphy from him. Actually, it's very similar to how in Buddhism we rely on virtuous teachers. There are so many similarities. So how is he doing now? When he talks about other teachers, I can certainly tell from his facial expression that he truly and genuinely appreciates the expertise and knowledge of those teachers. But whenever he talks about his own master, his whole attitude is completely different. He always feels that his master has shown him immense kindness. Actually, it's the same for us when we study Buddhism. Sometimes when we talk about all the great monks and virtuous teachers from an academic perspective, or for the sake of unity or certain interests, I might also say that all the great monks and virtuous teachers are the same, all spiritual teachers are the same, and so on. But in reality, the master from whom we have truly received the transmission and blessings, there may not be many like that. For example, I have relied on 50 spiritual teachers, and look at Atisha. He relied on more than 150 spiritual teachers. But in the end, it was only to Master Suvarnadvipa that he felt this way. When talking about other masters, Atisha would simply put his palms together and bow in respect. But whenever he mentioned Master Suvarnadvipa, he started to cry. Atisha was such a great pandita, yet he also cried. Sometimes some lay practitioners here are prone to tears, and if you are easily moved to tears, it also shows that you have received some blessings. So whoever has tears, it means they have received the blessings of the Master. If someone is unable to cry, it could mean that they have simply not yet received the profound spiritual blessings. You see, from the inspiring story of Atisha, you can also see this. Sometimes when people finally cry out loud, I even find it a bit annoying. What are you crying for, really? But sometimes just the thought of the Master, or hearing the Master's heartfelt supplication prayers, I find myself deeply moved. Sometimes, quite naturally, you feel that the Master has shown you immense kindness throughout your life. In such moments, you will also cry. When it comes to other matters, I don't cry at all. But as soon as the Master is mentioned, sometimes when I'm alone in my room reading some of the Master's teachings, and I recall the times I spent with the Master in the past, including the experience of dreaming, when I actually see the Master in my dreams, and then after waking up, it very often feels the same way. And so I feel that sometimes it seems that crying isn't so good. But at other times, tears do, in fact, have some genuine value. They show that you have a profound faith in your spiritual master. Take Atisha, for example. When we study the words of my perfect teacher, when Atisha spoke of other masters, he was like this. But when he mentioned Master Suvarnadvipa, he was very respectful, and his eyes would very quickly begin to fill with tears. He said, "The only wish-fulfilling jewel of bodhicitta in my mind stream was brought directly to me by Master Suvarnadvipa. He relied on him for 12 years. Even to this very day, in what is present-day Indonesia, for some of us, the precious bodhicitta in our mind stream is a lineage that comes from the Master. For some, certain aspects of the secret teachings, the wisdom of realizing the nature of mind and awakening, are also gained through the Master. Some may not have such high or profound realizations, but now they have become practitioners themselves, have become monastics, have become Buddhists, or have become lay followers who are not so lost or confused. This too is due to various causes, conditions, and blessings from the Master. In this way, I believe that many people will have had very similar experiences. Here, in this particular context, we regard the Master as if he were just another academic or scholar, or like some university professors, for instance, or some lecturers. They may not acknowledge this. They might ask, "Why is your Buddhism so narrow? Why are you crying? Why so mystical and superstitious?" Some scholars dislike emotional faith. There's nothing we can do about it. That's just how it is. However, some Westerners, most Westerners are rational and don't like to cry, but there are some Westerners, especially Americans and Germans, when they cry even harder than we Chinese do. I saw it myself with my own eyes. There was a foreigner on that particular day, and he had previously received a great deal of teachings from us here. He kept holding my hand and crying the entire time, saying that he hadn't seen me for such a very long time. I don't think I had ever actually seen a Westerner cry before that particular time, so I have to admit I was a little bit scared by the experience. From what I've observed, most of them are not like the people here in my country who can be happy one moment and then find themselves completely miserable just a short while later. Most people are like that, but there are still a few exceptions. As I've just mentioned, this is essentially all about relying on the teacher. In the entire process of relying on a teacher, we may feel especially attached to a particular teacher, including some of his teachings, even any of his words, no matter how small. We are reluctant to let go of them. But the most important thing is the teachings. Some of the teacher's specific expressions or physical gestures, even the smallest things we feel, are incredibly beneficial to ourselves, helping us eliminate afflictions or certain things within our own mental continuum, and are extremely meaningful for our lives and for liberation. This is how we approach it. This is the second level of content. Now, moving on to the third level, it says, my mental powers are weak and my training slight. I have little capacity for renunciation or extensive study, but I visualize you, Supreme Guru, inseparable from the ever-youthful Manjushra on the crown of my head or in the center of my heart, and with devotion pray to you sincerely. Inspire me so that my share of blessings and compassion is not meager, my mind stream is ripened through empowerment and liberated through instruction, and I reach the conclusion of the four visions. Here, it means that as Buddhists, we are neither particularly diligent, nor are we very wise. From the perspective of such a person, we pray to the Guru saying, as for me, my wisdom is rather shallow, and my practice is not good at all. It's quite poor. My wisdom is also lacking, even when it comes to memorizing the 400 verses, or the entering the middle way, or even memorizing logic texts. Last year I memorized them well, but this year I've forgotten everything. So my wisdom really isn't that great either. I'm careless even with the 5 preliminary practices. I've completed the required numbers, but in terms of quality, I still haven't understood the rarity of human life, nor have I grasped life's impermanence. I don't have any real sense of impermanence. I'm not afraid of the suffering of samsara. It doesn't matter much. Regarding karma and its infallibility, I'm half believing, half doubting. Other aspects like taking refuge and generating bodhicitta, and then accumulating merit and purifying obscurations, everyone, I haven't practiced as well as the great masters of the past, like Langri Tangpa Gompawa or Atisha. So I feel my own practice isn't very good, and I also lack ability in study, contemplation, and meditation. I haven't studied the 5 great treatises extensively, nor am I widely learned. I don't engage in reflection or debate either. In terms of practice and meditation, I'm not really satisfied with any aspect. So what should I do in this situation? The only thing I can do is to rely solely on my root guru and visualize my root guru as being inseparable from Manjushri. I visualize them above the crown of my head, or sometimes at my heart center. With deep and sincere devotion, I frequently pray. I am praying with sincere devotion to my revered guru, hoping that your profound compassion will bless me, thereby granting me all the positive and favorable conditions for my journey, including wisdom, blessings, and the ability to practice. May I very quickly complete the preliminary practices. May I quickly fully realize the true, profound, and enlightened nature of mind. May I very quickly be completely and permanently liberated from all forms of suffering. May I very quickly, including having a healthy body. Otherwise, today I have a headache, tomorrow my back hurts. If that's the case, I get very tired too. Actually, in this degenerate age, many sentient beings tend to have more illnesses in their bodies. Very few people are truly healthy. Some may have the blessings of the 3 jewels. And some people say they've been healthy their whole lives. There really are such people. Maybe it's because their merit is not quite sufficient, or perhaps it's for some other similar reason. Some Dharma friends, it seems like these days they experience headache, back pain, heart pain, or even just a bad mood. So, how has everyone been doing recently? Still, in this degenerate world, sentient beings suffer a lot, right? No matter what, we must pray to the Guru. I visualize Manjushri and the Guru as inseparable, abiding deep in my heart, abiding high above my head. In this way, you should receive a kind of supramundane blessing, bringing me all positive connections and beneficial circumstances, constantly and graciously bestowing sacred empowerments upon me, thereby bringing my entire mind stream toward full maturation. Among the base empowerment, path empowerment, and fruition empowerment, generally the empowerment received through praying to the Guru is called the path empowerment. The Guru's 4 places, the crown of the head, the throat, the heart, and then the whole body, emit 4 different kinds of light. Just as it is described in our Guru Yoga practice, these then merge into the 4 places of your own body, receiving the unique blessings and empowerments of the Guru's body, speech, and mind, bestowing teachings upon me, liberating me from my afflictions, liberation through teaching. Please, I pray, mature my mind stream with your sacred empowerments and completely liberate my mind stream with your profound instructions. Bless me so that in a very short time, as described in the teachings of Dzogchen, the path unfolds through 4 distinct stages. These are the direct perception of the nature of reality, the subsequent increase of that realization, achieving a full measure of awareness, and finally, the exhaustion of all phenomena. May all of these profound stages be perfected, one step at a time. What is this? This is a prayer. Actually, when I was at Wutai Mountain, I personally felt very grateful to Lama Rigdon for making the request. I still feel that my own practice is not very good. My study, contemplation, and meditation are not very good. I must, in this lifetime, wholeheartedly pray to the Guru. If the Guru's blessings can completely merge into my heart, then I believe I might be capable and successful in whatever I do. There are certainly some skillful means and methods available. So at that particular time, I was feeling truly and incredibly joyful. And in the days that followed, I also put forth my best effort to practice this method and have been consistently continuing to do so all along. In reality, the blessing that is received from the act of prayer is profoundly important. And it's important to recognize that it is not just us, as Buddhists, who hold this particular viewpoint. In fact, even a number of today's modern scientists are now starting to acknowledge this is the case. There was once a Nobel Prize winner in medicine and physiology in 1906 who won the Nobel Prize in medicine and physiology. There was a renowned scientist named Santiago Ramon y Cajal. And what did he have to say about generating power? He stated that the single strongest way, or the most effective form, is simply through the act of prayer. Prayer is actually a profound way for us to generate inner strength. It is considered the most powerful form of all. Therefore, prayer is not something exclusive to Buddhists, but is found in many faiths. Now, it's worth noting that modern science is also beginning to recognize that the act of prayer holds a certain invisible and mysterious power. To give you an example, I remember coming across a report in the well-regarded archives of internal medicine, and it said that some notable scholars from Harvard, a survey was conducted specifically with exactly 2,055 randomly selected participating people. And the comprehensive and detailed scientific research results clearly and definitively showed that 69% of them strongly and firmly believe that prayer is undeniably and measurably highly useful for people, including in the treatment of illness. They approach this entirely from a non-religious perspective. If we pray, it can actually prove to be beneficial for ourselves, including when someone is ill. When praying to the Medicine Buddha, sincerely praying, after engaging in this practice, even from a materialist or an atheist point of view, this kind of focused prayer has a genuine power. And this is not to mention the experience for us Buddhists. For Buddhists, indeed, sometimes when we pray to our Guru, it's true that many incredible, almost unbelievable things can manifest in our world. The challenge is, when you speak of these things in front of people who lack faith, it becomes practically impossible for them to believe what you're saying. But for those who have faith, it is a widely acknowledged fact, especially when it comes to one's root guru, that attaining siddhis through the dedicated practice of prayer is an undeniable reality. This is a truth that we must admit. The power of prayer is inconceivable. This is especially true when offering sincere prayers to the Guru. Indeed, it is often the case that what appear to be significant obstacles and adverse conditions can transform into favorable ones, and this shift can happen with surprising ease. I recall this happening around May or June of 2016. One of the Khenpos from Larungar was taking a flight from Chengdu over to Kangding at that particular time. When the plane was making its descent, I would imagine that perhaps many of our Dharma friends have seen this on the news, right? Among the passengers was the respected Khenpo Rigda from Larungar. As the plane was making its final approach for landing, absolutely no one on board knew what the conditions were like on the ground below. Then, all of a sudden, a very loud bang was heard coming from the aircraft. It created an especially huge noise. Everyone inside the plane was terrified at that moment. And then our Khenpo immediately began to pray to the great His Holiness. He prayed, Ye Yi No Wo Chen, just like that. A leader told me about this on that day. It wasn't Khenpo himself who told me. A leader said he was sitting together with the Khenpos. They were all stunned with fear. They thought, oh no, something has happened. But that Khenpo loudly recited the prayer once. Not long after that, the plane couldn't land at that time. So, as a result, the plane changed its course and began the flight back towards the city of Chengdu. Now, it must be made clear that we are not suggesting this was exclusively because of the perceived power of that one prayer he made. Others might not necessarily agree with that. But even those leaders who didn't have any faith also joked with him, saying, it was because of your prayer at that time. Otherwise, every single one of us came so incredibly close to losing our very lives. This is something we can also take as a reference. As Buddhists, we can't say 100% that all good things are because of us and all bad things are someone else's fault. That's not how it works. But sometimes the power of prayer is truly, truly miraculous. I've felt it myself. As a specific example, when my mind finds itself to be especially restless, or when I experience some afflictions in front of a Buddha statue, or in front of the image of my teacher, I pray with a very focused and single-minded devotion. After a little while, there genuinely is a certain kind of feeling that is very hard to describe in words. Around the year 1998, I remember I was teaching them the important text, The Ornament of the Middle Way. Because at that time, you see, I really hadn't studied the Middle Way very extensively. Was it 1998 or 1988? Actually, I think it should have been 1989. At that time, I was teaching the Lamas in Tibetan. Because I came here in 1985, so by 1989, I only had 3 or 4 years of foundational study and contemplation. That's why, when I was teaching the Ornament of the Middle Way, it was especially difficult, and I would pray as I taught. Whenever I encountered a difficult part, I would pray for a long time. And I prayed to Mifam Rinpoche and to His Holiness. Looking back now, it seems a bit unrealistic, because when I encountered difficult problems, how could praying possibly solve them? But later on, it seemed that after a while, if I read it again and prayed again, then read it once more, eventually I was basically able to explain it. A few years ago, when I was translating the Ornament of the Middle Way, I also used this same approach. Sometimes it worked. Sometimes it didn't really work, and I still didn't understand. But regardless of the circumstances, I feel that the act of praying is still very meaningful. This is especially true when praying to the Guru. But some of my Dharma friends talk to me and ask me to compose a prayer. But as for myself, when it comes to this kind of thing, not only do I not compose such prayers, I am actually quite opposed to it. Previously, His Holiness composed one for me called the Prayer for Long Life. At that time, after His Holiness finished composing it, within Larungar, I personally issued a formal and strict ban, which was specifically directed towards the community of Chinese monks, prohibiting them from making any part of this matter public, including that in all the classes reciting that prayer was not allowed. Personally, I feel that, for one thing, there are so many eminent monks and great masters at Larungar. For this reason, praying for me to have a long life is something that is, to be honest, quite unrealistic. In fact, many of the most senior Khenpos and Khenmos are already aware of this. That's why I don't like it. In all our public classes, reciting it was strictly forbidden. If they chose to recite it privately, I didn't stop them either, because there was absolutely nothing I could do about it. Later, a full 20 years passed, and even now, it still remains prohibited in public classes. As for some societies or associations in other places, it seems that some people there are still reciting it. I haven't said anything about that either. Actually, whether it's recited or not, to be honest, it's not really all that important. But indeed, it is true that sometimes prayers do have a certain kind of power. Among the ones composed by His Holiness, there are some parts that I personally agree with, and some parts that I don't quite agree with. There are a few points in it that I do acknowledge. The first line, the blessings of the glorious Master have entered your heart. As for this, I have indeed received some unique blessings from certain gurus. Anyway, every disciple, as long as they've received teachings from a guru, will definitely have received blessings. So I partially acknowledge this point. Then it says, so that great showers of Dharma pour down upon all beings impartially. It seems that I have also managed to do this, whether among the Han or the Tibetan people, especially and mainly among the Han people. For the past 30 years, I have been continuously teaching the Dharma. This is something I have also done. Then it says, Venerable Sonam Dargye, you hold the treasury of the three trainings. As for this, I do not agree. Because when it comes to the three trainings, discipline, concentration, and wisdom, in the study of discipline, there are the Pratimoksha vows, the Bodhisattva vows, and the Tantric vows. To achieve perfection in these is extremely difficult. As for meditation, it seems my meditative state are not really up to par, although I sometimes give lectures on meditation at universities, but sometimes even for myself. During the process of meditating below, my mind is constantly distracted. Sometimes I do okay. My meditation isn't good, and my wisdom from listening, contemplating, and practicing is also not great. Later, it seems there's a line, through the illuminating moon-like light of your enlightened intent, may you have the potential to eradicate the darkness of the five dregs. This might be an exaggeration by His Holiness. Otherwise, darkness of the five defilements, how could tiny bit of bodhicitta dispel it? But no matter what, you all are just the same as before. This prayer was composed by His Holiness in 1997. It's already been 20 years now. At our Larongar, I also really don't want everyone to have to recite it aloud in class. And it's still the same way now. That sort of thing is just not allowed. The reason is this. When His Holiness composed it at the time, I was very much opposed to it. I heard that some of the Han Chinese Khenpos and Khenmos from our side went to request it from His Holiness. It seems that when I came back from a trip, as soon as I found out, I immediately called His Holiness. At that time, Larongar had two phones. On the men's side, the phone was with me. On the women's side, it was with another Khenmo. It seems Larongar didn't have many phones. I called His Holiness directly and said, I requested him not to compose the prayer for long life. If you really want to compose it, there are so many eminent monks and great masters at Larongar. In Duamang Monastery, back then, both Tulku Tisha and Khenpo Depa had not yet passed away. Could you compose it for them instead? But when I first tried to stop him, His Holiness said that it had already manifested within the wisdom of awareness. It appears he had also mentioned this particular point in his writings. Once he had said that, there was simply nothing I could do to prevent it. Looking back on it now, it occurs to me that perhaps some Dharma friends truly, sometimes I go to some societies. Last year during the Tara Puja, some of the Dharma friends, who are part of our society, gathered together to sing the prayer that Guo Chaui and the others used to sing. At that time, many people were crying, so I thought, could this be a kind of Vajra blessing from the Guru's words? In this degenerate age, many people... Maybe there are some other contributing reasons as well. At that specific time, I genuinely did think this way. Personally, I believe that things like this, especially when it comes to promoting myself, this is essentially how I am. Relying almost entirely on the praise and approval of a particular guru and using that to promote oneself personally, I really feel it's completely meaningless. One should utilize one's own personal wisdom, diligence, and effort to speak for oneself. So when some people introduce me, I am especially opposed to the idea of starting with someone else's praise of me. For example, something like saying how many classes I have taught, or how many times I've gone to this or that place. If you show it through your actual actions, that's what's real. In this regard, my way of thinking is actually quite similar to that of Westerners. But sometimes, including when it comes to prayer, it is certainly due to the profound blessings of the Guru. And in some important ways, our actions are fundamentally different from the actions of those who are non-Buddhists. That day, a Khenpo spoke to me. At that time, His Holiness composed many prayers for longevity. Now, all those masters have passed away. Only you. Who else is left? I said, does that mean my time is coming soon too? He said, no, that's not it. That's not what I meant at all. Back then, it seemed His Holiness composed prayers for Lama Achok and Master Chingding, because they were written in 1997. Master Chingding passed away in 1999. At the time when Master Chingding passed away, His Holiness also said, although I composed the prayer for him, his time in this world was not long. But for some truly great bodhisattvas and eminent masters, even if they remain in this world for just one day, it is still beneficial for sentient beings. I also don't know what effect this prayer for longevity has, but once someone has departed, some Dharma friends can recite it. It seems that in the middle there is a line, may your life remain unchanged and stay in this world for a long time. That line should be changed to, for example, when I am no longer in this world, it should be changed to, may I receive the blessings of the wisdom of the realized mind transmission. In this way, in the future, there will definitely come a day. There are also quite a few Buddhists present in our lineage as well, because for some specific prayers for longevity, when the master is present, reciting that prayer is very good.
When the master is not present, it seems a bit difficult to recite, so it ends up not being used at all. But the blessings and lineage of His Holiness, I myself am unable to compose that. But in the future, if some of you need to recite it, it's not that I'm saying I'm about to leave right away. I don't mean it, but sometimes when speaking, there are things that should be said. Just as Venerable Longchenpa said, it's good to give everyone some instructions. So as for prayers, it's like this. Some of His Holiness's sacred supplication prayers. For example, in the past, we had this one. I supplicate Jigme Phuntsok, hot son of Guru Rinpoche, as Lerab Lingpa, perfect in realization. May the mind transmission blessings enter my heart. May my mind and yours merge as one. Please bless me. When His Holiness was still alive, there were 2 more lines at the end. After His Holiness passed away, just reciting the previous lines is sufficient. That's also how we recite it now. In any case, to sum up, I think that supplicating to the Guru is truly important and meaningful. What I mean is, supplicating the ones who are like myself, or other so-called self-proclaimed gurus in name, it's best not to focus your supplications on them currently. The main thing is to supplicate to our revered Guru, His Holiness. Every day we recite from the great sacred realm of Wutai Mountain, composed by His Holiness at Wutai Mountain. It's the Guru's prayer. Some say since the Guru has passed away, does supplicating still have effect? Actually, that's not the case. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha, our root teacher. All of us recite it this way. The prayer of Venerable Longchenpa, it's already been over 600 years now. And we are reciting it today. After reciting it, we receive unique blessings. The same goes for the prayer of Master Tsongkhapa. For over 600 years, we later followers have continuously recited his supplication prayer. Therefore, regarding the supplication prayer to the revered Guru, His Holiness, I sincerely hope that all of you here can, through heartfelt supplication, receive wisdom and inner strength. This is very important. In this way, your faith will not easily waver. If you only listen and contemplate, only study the words on the surface, it's possible that today you may be a well-known Buddhist. But if you lack the blessings of the mind transmission in your mind stream, if you do not have the long-term blessings of the Guru, then after some time, when you encounter other circumstances, in the end, you may not be able to see things through from beginning to end. This kind of thing happens. I am the same way. During all the many years that I have consistently persisted at Larongga, in fact, it is due to the incredible blessings of the Guru. This cannot be separated from it. Otherwise, it's like an entrepreneur who essentially does the same thing for decades. There aren't many like that. It should be quite rare. Therefore, based on some of my own personal experiences, I hope that we Buddhists can all pray together to Manjushri Bodhisattva and all pray to His Holiness Jigme Phuntsok Rinpoche, although he has left this world. His wisdom and compassion, I guarantee that everyone can receive them with an open and sincere heart. If you do not pray with genuine faith and pure intention at all, you may not necessarily receive them completely. Praying is, in essence, essentially, when you mindfully pray to the Guru, he will certainly bestow blessings and siddhis upon you and your life. If you do not pray, it is impossible. No matter what your status is, no matter your origin or ethnicity, you belong. As long as you pray, he is never biased. You will definitely receive blessings, and these blessings may appear in your life in various ways. So, in this class, my main hope is that you will occasionally make use of the valuable insights and knowledge offered by modern science, or some of the current worldly disciplines to observe and analyze things in a rational manner. But for certain spiritual matters, Buddhism has its own unique and more intuitive approach. Or you can also gain inner strength for yourself through prayer and blessings as well. This might actually be more meaningful. Why is it that some Buddhists are able to benefit countless sentient beings? Actually, it should be because they have received the blessings of their gurus in their mind stream, the wisdom of the lineage masters. This is very important. If you don't have it, then each of us is the same. On the surface, it also seems like we have the same strength. So if there are differences sometimes, including among those in Larongga or among our Han monastic section, among these Khenpos, Khenmos, and some Dharma teachers, those who have great faith in the lineage masters, their activities of spreading the Dharma and benefiting beings naturally come to fruition. But for those who rarely pray to the lineage masters, even if their wisdom is quite good, they often encounter obstacles in the process of spreading the Dharma and benefiting beings later on, and are unable to carry out their activities. This kind of situation also exists. Therefore, for us practitioners, whether it is to complete our own practice from beginning to end or to perfectly accomplish the benefit of sentient beings, praying to the Guru is extremely important. This is the third part. So what is the fourth? In this and all my future lives may I never be separated from you, and by mastering the treasury of vast ocean-like samadhis and qualities, may I remain for as long as space exists, just like Manjugosa, to strive for the benefit of all living beings. May I never be separated from the Guru in life after life, and may I be able to master and attain all forms of samadhi, such as the samadhi of space treasury, the Shurangama samadhi, as well as the non-forgetting Dharani samadhi, and so many kinds of samadhi like these. Just like the vast ocean, there are countless precious treasures. This means wishing to never ever be separated from the Guru in every lifetime, hoping to attain wisdom, samadhi, and so on, and to gain many virtues. At the same time, to be exactly like Manjushri Bodhisattva, reaching even to the limits of space, diligently benefiting boundless sentient beings. Finally, one aspires to, with Manjushri Bodhisattva and the Guru, to benefit limitless, boundless sentient beings together. All of us here today should also pray and make aspirations. What aspirations? Like Manjushri Bodhisattva and His Holiness, as well as the lineage gurus, we should in this lifetime, and in every lifetime to come, always benefit sentient beings. This is very important. If we have a mind that wishes to benefit sentient beings with genuine compassion and loving kindness, we will not suffer mentally in our daily lives. Whether you are sick or very poor, no matter what you encounter, in the end you should think, I want to benefit sentient beings. If you have this kind of mind, many of our selfish pains will disappear without a trace. This is extremely meaningful. Therefore, today we should also make this aspiration. Moreover, this year is also a rather special time. What kind of special time is it? It has been 30 years since His Holiness Jigme Phuntsok Rinpoche went to Mount Wutai to give teachings to many disciples, which was in 2017, we recall. We too should make aspirations just like our precious Guru and Manjushri Bodhisattva. I hope that each and every one of you will aspire to benefit sentient beings. This is one aspect of what I wanted to share today. Furthermore, in order to perfect our aspirations, everyone should make the aspiration to recite the Manjushri Heart Mantra. Before July 15th this year, you can report your recitation counts. After some additional time on our online platform here, we will provide everyone with an email address, or any other method is fine as well for your convenience. At the very least, those of us who are listening to this teaching right here today and have faith should recite the Manjushri Heart Mantra at least 10,000 times. For a medium goal, 100,000, 1 million, 10 million, or even 100 million recitations. The best would be 100 million recitations. Make that aspiration. Of course, take time to think it over. Don't just say 100 million recitations right now. You don't even know how much 100 million is, yet you immediately raise your hand. That's not particularly good, so I really hope that those of you listening to my teaching tonight attentively, of course I haven't set a time limit yet, but don't drag it out for too long either. Otherwise, if you make the aspiration, but end up passing away before you finish reciting, that's not good either. At the very least, do 10,000 recitations. 10,000 is very easy. You can finish it in just a few minutes. The Manjushri Bodhisattva Heart Mantra.
Om Arapatsanarda.
Here I will also give you the transmission.
Om Arapatsanarda. Om Arapatsanarda. Om Arapatsanarda.
Roughly before August this year, I will also, just to clarify once more, be making some plans. No matter what, there will be a truly special and heartfelt dedication of merit. In this way, I sincerely hope, at the very least, recite it 10,000 times. 10,000 times is supposed to be easy, but for those who have just started learning Buddhism recently and are new to this practice, it can be challenging. It seems that quite a few people are taking refuge for the first time tonight. If we ask them to recite the mantra several 100,000 times over and over again, they'll be absolutely terrified. I really hope most people can do 100,000 recitations at least. With 100,000 recitations relying on Manjushri Bodhisattva, we will not become ignorant beings life after life. For those of you who sometimes feel in your daily life that you are especially dull or slow to react, whose wisdom or intelligence does not seem very strong, and who often notice that no matter what you do or how hard you try, your mind just can't seem to turn quickly or respond as fast as you wish. People like this need it even more. Just as Sakya Pandita said, we need to make aspirations. We may also need to make some additional aspirations, but don't spend all your time on the Manjushri mantra. Soon, I'll probably encourage you to recite the Avalokiteshvara mantra too. And I'll also encourage you to recite the Great Cloud of Blessings. We might have 3 such practices this year, but all of this depends on circumstances. Just recite as much as you can. I'm not making any strict demands either. I'm not saying that all of you must recite a certain amount. There are no such strict requirements. It's all voluntary. Just do as much as you can manage. Today, as I talk about this Guru prayer, the main point of this prayer is to visualize the Guru and Manjushri Bodhisattva as being inseparable, and to use this method of visualization for prayer. If we're not particularly skilled in listening, contemplation, or practice, as long as you wholeheartedly pray to the Guru and the 3 jewels, and pray to Manjushri Bodhisattva, visualizing the Guru at your heart, or visualizing the Guru above your head, and pray with single-minded devotion in this way. Treat our revered Guru, His Holiness, and Manjushri Bodhisattva as one, and then keep reciting from the great sacred realm of Wutai Mountain. Pray sincerely to the revered Master Jigme Phuntsok at your feet, I pray. Inspire me with your blessings. Transmit the realization of the wisdom mind lineage. Keep praying in this way. Doing so brings great blessings. If you don't believe it, you can try. Put aside all your business and everything else, and pray with wholehearted and intense devotion. Sometimes you pray out loud, and sometimes you pray silently. At such times, it seems as if invisibly, the Guru merges into your own body, and you have already received blessings without even realizing it. This is actually very simple. If you try to visualize something very complicated now, some of you might not really know how to do it, but if you pray every day, in the past there were some Kadampa masters who would recite hundreds of prayers every single day. Sometimes when I am extremely tired, and I really, truly can't manage to complete all of the daily recitations, at night, I just quietly recite the Guru's prayer a few times. It's the same when I get up in the morning. I habitually recite some 100-syllable mantra, the 8 auspicious verses, the great cloud of blessings, and then recite a bit more of His Holiness's well-known and revered from the supreme sacred realm of Wutai Mountain, the blessings of Manjushri ripened in your mind. I recite that prayer a few more times, including in daily life, whether some of you are driving or walking. Even when cooking, like stir-frying vegetables, you can recite from the supreme sacred realm of Wutai Mountain, Jigme Phuntsok, at your feet I pray. It's totally fine. This is a kind of blessing. It's all fine. At any time and any place, you are connecting with the Guru, whether you realize it or not. This connection is always present and does not depend on where you are. This is very important. Did we go a bit over time today? In the end, it wasn't a full hour, right? A full hour? No, I didn't. I just said it would be like this, right? So soon we still need to recite the aspiration of Samantabhadra. It would be best if all of you could recite it together. The merit of reciting the aspiration of Samantabhadra even once is inconceivable. I personally cherish the opportunity to recite the aspiration of Samantabhadra very much. Yesterday I was quite busy. I told the Dharma friends at Larunga to recite the aspiration together, but I wasn't able to recite it because I was away. So everyone together, I see that in these notes, it says, did I recite the Tibetan transmission of this part? I didn't recite it, right? I'll recite the Tibetan transmission of the prayer composed by His Holiness. This text was composed at the request of the virtuous disciple Rigden. Ngawang Lodro Tsungme wrote it in the solitary place of Mount Wutai. Auspicious. So, for this part, I will recite the transmission in Tibetan. Then we will dedicate the merit using the aspiration of Samantabhadra. If you don't have any special circumstances, I sincerely hope we can dedicate the merit together. May we all receive the true blessings of Bodhisattva Manjushri and Bodhisattva Samantabhadra. May each person's practice reach completion through dedication and perseverance. No matter what we encounter in life, we can face it with strength and grace in our own way. In the end, it should all be very meaningful.
손들 신름 요거 지소 대선 자라 담진 디비크 말린조 안전비 대군족 칸조 점수 소고 해르가 이전노르 킬라 소란데 교릴 허빌라마 달라메 제지 손레 냠레나 잔다 메드 디근 레스투 지버 쳬테나 이전노르 진부 돈당다 돈던 조도 도노 로만 장와 총외나 동로 제치르 시밤 특종양 라맘 초동 자고로 존 예르미 시우 츠금 닝거위 직브르무네 소란 데블라나 신럽 특집 고르커 magman bar gongor manjang damgor jitrte nawjam tarin churul shinjirlo kiwa kanda ketan mamjang tanzan yondan jamsu terlawa jagro yanjin namka chachata malin rowi tonla sonjir ji ji lowa tamba rigtonji ngor rowor serni yangwanda ngaw lochum chome pe tripa ge
Sonandai tamsa rogaya tonani bejana basi jirgana jirano chupai jubun zolen roja
Bandangara badna asadarda Bandangara badna asadarda Bandangara badna asadarda